dokie. Good morning, everyone. We will begin the Committee on Appointments meeting at 8 a.m. We just have a few things on the agenda this morning. First is a resolution recognizing Commissioner Isasi's appointment of Michelle Williams to the Grand Rapids Police Civilian Appeal Board.
So moved.
Support.
All right, conversation on this appointment, colleagues.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'll just add Michelle is a reappointment. I know that we are looking at, obviously some of you are new this year, and so we're doing some reappointments. I decided Michelle was, continue to be interested and for some continuity would continue on. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Robbins? Yeah, I'm very happy that we all have that whole board. They're okay to serve, correct, Ms. Bosker? They're all okay to serve until they're
Yes,
until we have another appointment?
They're all beyond their official term end date, but in their bylaws, it states that they're permitted to continue serving until a replacement is found or until the official reappointment, and so they're all in that status. And we're slowly, with this appointment, getting to sorting it all out and getting everybody officially back on track.
Cool. Yeah, I know some of their guidelines and their agency that they have comes from some of the police, what do you call that? Like our agreement with them, right? So I know we wanted to work through that and see what their contract would look like. We've passed that. So I think we're in good standing where they still have the same agency and powers that they had. And so it'll be very nice to see who would all be on this board now. So, okay, those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? It carries. That moves us to our second resolution, confirming Mayor LeGrand's appointment of Dakota Ryle Davis to the Economic Development Corporation and Brownfields Redevelopment Authority.
So moved.
Support.
Conversation on this appointment, colleagues? Yes, Commissioner.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would just add Dakota has been, very actively involved in our community, both in her work and her volunteer work. And I'll look forward to, I think that we have 4 openings and this would leave 3, or do we have 3 and this will leave 2, Ms. Bosker?
We have 1 official.
Oh, okay.
And then there are a couple of
Got it.
vacancies.
Right,
will
with
be
some of the
upcoming
other
in next-
pieces.
yep,
Got
the
it.
next
Okay.
few weeks.
Well, thank you so much. So yeah, I think this body, it's always really important to have quorum and all those pieces. So we'll appreciate Dakota serving on there. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any further comments? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. And lastly, a discussion on our current board and commission vacancy list.
Well, we've covered 2 things that were on my list, the Civilian Appeal Board and the Brownfield. The other thing I wanted to mention is the next meeting, we should fill the North Quarter CIA vacancy, and hopefully at least a couple of the Community Relations Commission vacancies should be on the next meeting or 2. So we're moving along. I'm still providing applications to the mayor and getting things together. And then also working on the end of year appointments and planning and preparing for all of that. The email should go out to the current members, reminding them or requesting them to reapply in the next couple of weeks. So that we should be getting a better feel for the end of year situation over the next month or so.
Wonderful. Thank you, Ms. Bosker. Any further comments from colleagues or staff? All right, you all. Oh, yes, Commissioner.
Do we have on the evening agenda, do we have any resignations, just as a reminder to me?
Not today.
Not today, okay.
There are a few, as
That will
mentioned, that will be in the next.
Meeting. Okay, thanks so much. Thank you.
Lovely. Thank you, Commissioner. And we will adjourn the Committee on Appointments at 8:04 a.m. Have a great morning.
little bit of a lighter agenda, but we do have one briefing today. We'll jump right in with item number one. We are starting with a resolution approving Grand Rapids Community College Higher Education Television Authority, HETA, grant reimbursement.
So moved.
Support.
All right, moved and supported. Ooh, we have this one.
Okay, I guess.
Thank you.
I guess I can pick this one up. We don't have anyone here today, but yeah, this is just grant reimbursement for related equipment purchases, things like that for our, with our communications department. Funded off of the program. It's PEG access, so it's reimbursable, through the cable stations, things like that. So that's how
Okay,
we are.
thanks. And I missed the amount on that. It's $81,044.20.
Correct.
Awesome. All right, colleagues, any questions on that one? All right, hearing, seeing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, it carries. Item number two, we've got a resolution authorizing expenditures for drone-based parking data collection in accordance with Administrative Policy 15-03, surveillance equipment policy not to exceed $30,000.
So moved.
Support.
All right, moved and supported. Welcome, Ms. Smith.
Good morning, Commissioners. I'm Jessica Smith. I'm the Mobile GR Director. This item is brought forward to you as part of the Surveillance Policy 1503 to go through a public process whenever we are using surveillance equipment. So we are looking at using drone-based parking data collection for on-street and surface parking occupancy data and numbers for about a 3-week period, and before you here is the approval to use these funds, about $30,000 of the entire parking investment strategy project, for the data collection portion of this project.
Great, thanks. And I know we discussed this one at length. We had public comment on this previously, and it gave the public an opportunity to voice concerns and ask questions if need be. So with that, I'll see if my colleagues have any questions. All righty. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. It carries. Item number three, we've got an ordinance amending Section 1 of the Budget Ordinance 2025-11 for fiscal year 2026, and this is amendment number 1.
So moved.
Support.
All righty, moved and supported.
Good morning, Commissioners. Just a few items this morning. Number one, this is setting up the appropriation in order to pay debt service for the soccer stadium and amphitheater bonds. As you'll recall, we issued these bonds back in May. That was well into our budget process, so setting up the appropriation for fiscal year 26 going forward will include that appropriation as part of your adopted budget, so won't have to do this kind of action again, but our first interest payment is due October 1st of 2025, and it's April, October. So in April, we'll pay principal and interest, but October's interest only. We did the report of bond sale on these proceeds back on June 10th. It's for $5.2 million in the Capital Reserve Fund. And again, no effect on fund balance. I'll also include that the funding source for this is from that Kent County hotel levy, that extra 3% where we voters increased it from 5% up to 8%. That delta is the source of the how we pay these bonds. Number two, for the police department, a generator replacement and miscellaneous expenses. This is $117,000 in the federal forfeitures fund. Using that fund balance. Number three, for the Parks and Rec Department, this is an environmental justice grant appropriating $500,000 of revenue and appropriation here. And then number four, we have the Roosevelt Park and Plaza Roosevelt grant. This is $5 million being appropriated revenue and appropriations in the Parks Capital Fund. Number five, this is 61st District Court, Drug and Sobriety Court, $38,000 into their fund, no effect on retained earnings there. Number six, Office of Oversight and Public Accountability, Community-Based Violence Intervention and Prevention Grant. This includes the addition of one administrative analyst into the other grants fund to support this work, also an appropriation of $2 million. I will note that anytime we talk about a grant-funded position, per our policy work last year, We do include the language that should this grant expire and we haven't secured an alternative funding source, this position will be removed from the roster. Number 7, the 2020 COPS hiring program grant. This is the final year of the COPS grant. This will be for $200,000 with our local match of $449,000, appropriating that in the police grants fund. It being the final, I'll just note it's the final year of the grant. What you'll see is this is a great program for onboarding police officers, where at the beginning of the grant, like in year 1, the grant is pretty much, well, almost 100% of the funding, whereas the local match increases year over year. So now in the final year, you'll see that local match has increased dramatically. It's how helps municipalities scale in to taking on positions. So I'll just note that. Number 8, we have out of the executive office, the city commission's meeting, streaming, indexing, and captioning system. Mr. Luke Canfield from the executive department's here to briefly talk about that, just because it is how we operate for commission meetings. So Luke, go ahead.
Morning, welcome.
Good morning. Thank you, Ms. Claren and commissioners. I'll be very brief. The reason this is necessary is because it's full year funding for something we procured during the budget preparation time for that upcoming fiscal year. So it fell through a gap, but it won't be necessary to do this in future years. This is an innovation that supports our organizational value of accountability and our strategic priority of an engaged and connected community. And I just want to show you very briefly, because the visual is more powerful than me describing this. So for previous city commission meetings through our meeting portal, there is now this little video icon off to the right. If your window is narrower than mine, you might have to click on these 3 dots to see that. And I'm just going to click on that for the most recent fiscal committee meeting. So you can see the agenda off to the left here. And you can see, actually, I'm going to go to one meeting prior, excuse me. Okay, so you can see the agenda is indexed, so you can click on any agenda item and jump directly to that point in the video. And also up here you can see a transcript tab, and this is a full word-for-word transcript of the meeting, and you can click on any word and go directly to that point in the video. So hopefully that's a sense of what this innovation is and what the requested funds are providing. Any questions?
Colleagues? No questions, just a comment. That's awesome. That's great. I appreciate your work on that.
Thank you.
Okay, and then our contingent balance remains unchanged at $1.5 million for the year. So if there are any questions.
All right, thanks. Colleagues, any questions on any of those other items?
No questions, Ms. Clarence, but I'm wondering if you could give a layman's description when you were talking about the bonds and setting that up and the payments, how it's coming through the.
From Kent County?
Yeah, so that, because you was like here. And
Sure.
some people like
Yeah,
here,
we've
so-
yeah, no, it is every time we talk about it, and yeah, we have addressed this, I know, with our committee of the whole, but for the benefit of this group, we issued bonds on behalf of Kent County. So the funding source is received by Kent County. And that funding source, as I said, is the hotel motel tax, voters approved specifically for the amphitheater and soccer stadium projects. They may have, plans in the future for other uses of that money as that revenue stream grows, but we have first rights to that 3%. I see Ms. Behrens is in the audience too, but she helped secure a contract associated with those bonds where, in essence, it sets up the payment of that. We, the city, invoice the county about 6 months in advance for that money to pay the next 6 months of debt service. So we have it in hand well in advance of needing to do that debt service payment. Should something happen economically where the hotel motel tax, is less than expected and we don't get quite as much money and it can't pay that debt, we also set up the contract somewhat of a rainy day fund. So Kent County has also funded this where we have that money to draw from if we don't have enough coming in from the county. In that contract, it also has provisions for the county continuing to make that rainy day fund whole if we ever had to tap that. So again, we have these checks in place to make sure, the city is protected. So what we're doing today, though, is we have a interest payment due in October, as well as payments due next April for principal and interest. So we have to set up an appropriation in order to do that spending. So that's what that 5.2 million is commission acknowledging, yes, we have this debt service payment and we plan to make payments in October and in May, and so that's mechanically what's happening here. When we do our because we issued those bonds while we were going through budget adoption, this appropriation wasn't set up. Annually, as part of the budget process, you'll see the debt service section, and I can make sure I point that out for you in the fiscal plan when we do the next adopted budget that shows here's all the debt we're going to have to pay in the next year. Here's where the appropriation is at for that. So we typically would do this as part of the budget process. It was just the timing that it didn't get worked into the budget at the time. That's for a variety of reasons, mainly because of we didn't know how we'd do for pricing, so we didn't know the exact amount of what to appropriate when we went through the budget process. So that's the long and short of it. It's a lot, and this was a huge issuance. It was 122.3 million, but we did ensure that the city was well protected as far as making sure we get that revenue stream in from the county. So yeah, to pay
I just
us.
wanted,
Yeah.
because sometimes people get caught up in the language and they don't know what it means.
Oh,
And so
absolutely.
just making sure that community understands. So
Absolutely.
bring it back on down to Crayola level. We are holding something for the soccer stadium, helping them achieve what they need to achieve, and the money to pay that is coming through the county, but it's coming through us. So we're kind of the loaners.
Like,
on
yeah, the
that.
conduit for all this to
Yes.
happen. Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, just, yeah.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's a good question. I think the biggest thing people just want to know is like, is this coming out of my income tax? Those kinds of things. So,
Because the
yeah.
community feels like we're paying for this, they're doing this thing, it's supposed to be ours, but we're not gonna, you know what I mean? So helping people
Yeah.
understand that it's not.
Yep.
Yeah, it's not, but it's something to be concerned about because it is against the city's full faith and credit. So that's something. Every time I talk to a rating agency, things like that, this is something that is on the city's books in a sense that is against our debt capacity, things like that. So it is.
Like
So
signing
as-
for that car for your child.
Absolutely,
Hoping that
absolutely.
they're gonna pay that bill
Yeah.
on time.
Yep,
Because
yep.
if not, you're the one that's responsible.
That's right, but
Great
yeah,
analogy.
I doubt the county would want me to call them their little brother or something.
Right.
Yeah,
We'll use mine, we'll use mine.
I like it.
It's
I like
okay.
it. I like it.
No, thanks for that.
Yep.
Cool. Any other questions? Alrighty. I'll call the question then. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? It carries. That'll bring us to item number 4. We've got our bid list resolution for August 26, 2025, and I'll hand it back to Ms. Claren.
Just largely routine items. If there is any questions, though, myself or the departments are here to answer. So,
Sorry, I need a motion.
oh,
So
sorry.
moved.
Support.
Thank you. Continue,
And I
thanks.
said beat the clock, man. No, but we are here if there are any questions on the bid list. Fairly routine.
Okay, yep, thank you. And I wrote down that it starts on page 29 in the full agenda packet, if anybody wants to read through that. Any questions, colleagues, discussion? Alrighty, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the motion carries. That'll bring us to item number 5. We've got our briefing this morning from our Deputy Comptroller Kirkland, so we'll welcome her up here. And this briefing will be covering our internal audit plan. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning and thank you. Thank you so much for having us here this morning. Just briefly to go over our 2026 audit plan, internal audit plan. So the Internal Audit Department, as you know, is a part of the Comptroller's Office. We're here to provide support for city's operations by providing an independent, objective assurance and insight into how well the city is operating. We're here to help the city, help the departments to make sure they're following policies and procedures and provide improvements or recommendations for improvements where they need to be. Our goal is to not point out what's wrong. We're here to help strengthen internal controls, improve efficiencies, support accountability, and across the departments. Simply, we're here to make sure everything is working the way it's supposed to, all right? And not here to do the whole I gotcha thing. We're here to support. Erica will provide the actual plan, and I'll come up and talk about the communications afterwards.
Great.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
My name is Erica Bills. I'm the city's internal auditor. Before I jump into the plan, the details of the plan, I just want to talk a little bit about the methodology that went into developing this plan. So as you're all aware, back in April, I sent out an email across to all city commissioners, city leaders, department heads, and supervisors asking for their input into the plan. I asked them to focus on 4 things: city strategic priorities, financial and economic factors, public implications, and operational efficiencies. And this could be anything within their department or just from a high-end observational process. We got about 30% response rate, so we hope to build off that in the future. So in addition to those responses, as well as my own observations and experiences and working with the Governmental Financial Officers Association, the Association of Local Government Auditors, to find best practices to build and develop our plan. So as things were identified to potentially audit, everything was put through a risk assessment, which is a best practice in internal audit. The risk assessment is performed to prioritize audits and identify and prioritize very operational and system-based threats that may create risk for the city. So again, I focused on 4 things. What is their impact, financial impact? What's the impact on the operations of the city? If there's any ethical or compliance implications, as well as reputation and appearance to the public, any risks there. Every audit was then subject, using those 4 categories, through a scoring mechanism. And this scoring matrix looks at the likelihood of the risk occurring, as well as the impact. If it has a lower risk or impact on, for the financial example, it would be scored a 1. If it had more of a broad impact on budget, on financial implications, it would be high, and it would rate a 5. So you multiply the 5 by the 5, and you get 25. So every category was scored using this matrix, and then I narrowed down the top priorities to focus on this year. So with that, these are the 3 primary projects that I'll be focusing on this year. This is a working document. It's not set in stone. Things may come up that may need to be addressed, or departments can reach out to us and ask for assistance in reviewing things. For example, the fire department reached out to me recently. They've had some staffing changes, some retirements, and they'd like us to come out and review their processes just to make sure everything is where it should be, look for opportunities to improve efficiencies, things along that lines. But these are the specific projects that I'll be focusing on in addition to providing support for other departments. The P-card policy and usage. We have a current purchase card guideline, and I'm going to review that policy to ensure that it's aligned with best practices, as well as review samples of purchase card transactions across the city to determine that we're following that policy and look for opportunities to improve that process. I'll also be looking at the travel policy. As many of you know, we have travel reimbursements and a travel policy. I'm going to be reviewing that policy as well as reviewing travel for various employees and ensuring that we're following the travel policy and making sure that we're adhering to best practices as well. And lastly, this was a department-specific request. Mobile GR reached out and in their survey and asked for me to come out and review their parking agreements with the DDA, the Convention and Arena Authority, the county, to ensure that there's accuracy of the revenue share calculations and that everything is being adhered to and followed in that manner. In addition to these specific projects, we also plan on doing annual audits. So for example, we just went out to all the departments that handle cash and performed petty cash audits, making sure that cash is being kept in a secure location, that there's controls in place to make sure that cash goes from our safes or our storage operations and gets to the bank to be deposited. I also recently just performed inventory audits. We went out to various warehouses and stock rooms and did inventory audits to verify that we're managing and tracking inventory in an appropriate manner. I also plan on doing account code audits. We have a lot of different account strings and account structures, and it's very important to make sure that we're properly coding purchases and items to the appropriate codes. I'll also, as we get more into our ERP, into our new ERP system, I hope to do payroll audits as well as financial system user audits to make sure security is in line, and I'll be working with various departments on those as well. So with that, I'll hand it over to Desiree to talk about what happens post-audit.
Thank you, Erica. So at the completion of each one of the audits, a formal report will be prepared. But just keep in mind also, all through the audit process, there's communications taking place. There's no surprises as to if there's any weaknesses or anything that needs to be improved on. Those communications are being done all through the process. By the time you get to the formal audit report, the scope of audit is stated in there, any results of the findings and recommendations are there, and also a response from the manager. There's meetings with the department heads, city leaders, and anyone who may be interested to see the work that has been done. And after that, the reports are published on our website, on the city's website. And that concludes our presentation. Are there any questions?
Thanks so much. Colleagues, any questions? All right, I have just two really quick ones. The 30% response rate, so that's what comprises that little chart we saw with the red, green,
Yes, it is.
yellow. Okay.
Yes.
And you said that there's a plan looking at best practices to get more departments to respond to.
Absolutely. We've been having conversations, and the city manager allowed us to come into the cabinet meeting on last week to also do the same plan, presentation. And so we've been having discussions with them and with department heads to get more of a feedback and build relationships because, you want to build that trust that we're here to support them.
Yep. No, that's great. Thanks. And then just real quickly, too, I guess what sort of communication is there to publish this plan just to the public for community members? Because I think that's an important piece, too, is just having citizens understand what we do internally to make sure that we're following protocol.
Absolutely. Once this is done, we've gone through all of this, we will put the final report or audit plan on our website.
Okay. So not just the findings of the report, but the protocol to get from point A to point B as well.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes.
Awesome. Cool. Well, that was my only other question. So hearing no other questions, we can move on to our comptroller's warrant report here, but appreciate you both being here to share that.
Thank you.
Commissioner Robbins, if I can make one comment.
Yep, go right ahead.
Just want to thank Desiree, our deputy comptroller, and Erica, our internal auditor, for this valuable work that they're doing for the city. And I think I just appreciate the fact that they put time in to bring some good visibility both to the commissioners here and the general public. So just want to thank them for the work that they're putting into this.
Yep, could not agree more. Thank you for saying that. Awesome. All right, so item number 6, we've got our comptroller's warrant report. This is for the period of July 22nd, 2025 through August 11th, 2025, in the amount of $48,170,885.79, and the monthly travel report. I'll hand it over back to you.
All right, good morning, Commissioners. For the period referenced, cash payments were released totaling approximately $48.17 million, which includes $5.7 million for payroll and approximately $320,000 for income tax warrants. In terms of quantity, 1,577 income tax refunds were issued and 1,875 accounts payable checks and electronic payments were issued. The funds that were issued for payment by individuals not in the City Comptroller's office and not in accordance with the terms of the city charter. There was additional information, as you know, that's been added to this report after it's been submitted. I just want to make clear that that's not information that I've authored, and I have requested additional information on that from the interim city attorney, and so I'm hopeful to get a response on that here in the near future. Also this morning, I have for you our June fiscal year-to-date travel report. So this is summarizing travel spend by department for basically the full fiscal year, the past prior year, and that is showing that a total of $1.9 million was spent on approximately a $3.5 million budget, or about 56% of the funds. And that concludes the reports that we have this morning.
Okay, thanks. We'll go ahead and receive and file that one. And then lastly, we've got our treasurer's report for the period of July 31st, 2025 through August 11th, 2025.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
My name is Levi Bolt. I'm the city's investment officer. Our office has, since July 1, has been busy collecting our summer property taxes due to the efforts of our deputy treasurer as well as others. We've collected approximately 94% of the summer tax roll at this point. Typically that process continues through March 1 when those are turned over to the county under state law. Dealing with those cash flows is a significant task. Ms. Cahill, our deputy treasurer, is furiously working on calculations for the various capture districts within the city to make sure that those calculations are correct and everybody gets all the various component units and districts and whatnot get the revenue that they're entitled to. In addition, our office has been continuing to work on the Oracle implementation, specifically with respect to a module called SimPro, which is how we do our investment accounting. SimPro is a system that the appendix to today's report is generated out of, tracking all the investments and that sort of thing. So that's been a large project, getting that fully integrated with Oracle in order to post our investment results and generate our financial statements. We're very close to that. At this point, we're able to get those interest and capital gain loss entries into our general ledger modules. There's additional project management module called PPM that is proving to be a little bit more difficult to get that data into, but that's a work in progress. Turning to the economy generally, there are some warning signs on the horizon. Generally speaking, the Federal Reserve, which sets monetary policy and therefore interest rates in the United States, is in a bit of a dilemma due to changes in trade policy. We're seeing both some increased currency instability as well as much higher, significantly higher prices at the producer level. Most of those have yet to trickle through to consumers. Some have. It is measurable. And the net result in the economy thus far has been negative. Of course, the administration has repeatedly stated this is a short-term pain, long-term benefit situation. It's a political question I'm not going to get into at this point in time. But that pass-through of increased cost of doing business, whether it's from the direct tariff impact or simply higher costs due to navigating them, will will degrade the Fed's ability to maintain stable prices, which is one of its mandates. And unfortunately, its tools are very blunt for how it does that. Raising and lowering interest rates affects all parts of the economy, some more sensitive than others. And unfortunately, some of the more sensitive, interest rate sensitive parts of the economy are the ones we really need, like housing. And affordable housing has obviously been a big issue. So that does create some additional headwinds to the goals that we're trying to pursue here in our city. However, at the moment, economically, Mark Zandi, the chief economist for Moody's, just yesterday indicated that state-by-state breakdown, Michigan is essentially treading water right now, that we're not yet in recession. Some states are, some are not. So we're doing okay at the moment. There is a risk of what is called de-anchoring with prices. That's, if you think about it in your mind, if every time you go to the grocery store, fill up the gas pump, the price is roughly the same, it's not something you think about. But once you start to notice those price increases, take that into account, and then the next step is expect them and change your behavior based on those expectations. That's when inflation really gets pernicious. And that is the danger that the tariff-driven price increases present. Overall, we do expect short-term interest rates to be cut in September by a quarter of a point. There's a strong consensus in financial markets around a 83-ish% likelihood that that's going to happen at this point in time. Otherwise, other than that, our portfolio right now is close to its annual high water mark at $971 million, earning 3.63%. If there's any questions, I'm happy to answer.
Great, thank you. I just have a random question. Do you happen to know, so you mentioned some parts of the economy we've seen the trickle down of the increase in prices. Do you know like what sorts of things we've already seen some of the consequences or effects of the tariffs versus not?
It's very hit and miss, and it very much depends. Even within particular product categories, oftentimes it'll depend on the degree to which a particular item is sourced from foreign components, foreign-made components versus domestic. So unfortunately, there's not, at this point, there are some statistical trends emerging, but it's not a cut and dry thing.
Okay, I'm just thinking from a city standpoint, like are the things that we do business with as a city, have those things been impacted yet, or is that sort of yet to come? So.
Most of it's yet to come.
Okay. Colleagues, any other questions or comments? All righty. Well, we'll go ahead and receive and file that as well. And then we'll go ahead and adjourn our meeting here at 9:02.
Good morning. The time is now 9:30, and we'll go ahead and call our Community Development Committee meeting to order. For once, we have a little bit smaller agenda, so we'll let you take a little break, Tim. But, you know, but that's not as many as Mr. Bergman usually has, but we appreciate his work. So the first item is a resolution awarding a contract with Earhart Construction for improvements to Oxford Trail in the amount of $5,015,335.98 with a total amount not to exceed of $9 million. Do you have a motion?
So moved.
Moved and supported.
Good morning, everyone. So I'm here to talk about the Oxford Trail project. This project is a partnership between Downtown Grand Rapids, Inc. and the City of Grand Rapids Parks Department. What we are looking at is the existing Oxford Trail. It starts on Wealthy, just on the west side of the river. It travels south through Butterworth. It crosses over the Grand River, which if you haven't been on that pedestrian bridge, you should go, it's lovely. And then continues down to Oxford Street currently. So our project will reconstruct that section that I just mentioned, and then also extend the trail down to Curve and then down to Hall. So that work is looking to start in September. Earhart would like to get started really quickly so that they can meet the timeline associated with the funding. The funding for this project is city ARPA funds as well as the DGR Greenway funding for the entire project. The goal of this project really is to connect the Black Hills and the Roosevelt Park neighborhoods to each other, and then also to downtown. And having this trail extend to Hall is just another section for us to get closer to connecting this trail system to Roosevelt Park. And then eventually we'll have, the Plaster Creek, Silver Creek trails connect to Roosevelt Park as well and have a complete trail system. So we only had 2 bids for this project. However, the engineer's estimate was the middle bid in between those 2 bids, so that's perfect. So we felt really happy with the cost that we got for it and really excited that Earhart actually came a little bit under budget for that. And there is some MLBE participation on this project. It's not allowed because of the funding to be able to utilize bid discounts. However, Earhart is still subcontracting 15% of their work to an MLBE. And I think that is everything I have. So if there's any questions.
See, look at Mr. Bergman got Ms. Enriquez to do the presentation on that one, but any questions? It's great to see this project. The state money, the Greenway money, that was also ARPA dollars from the state, or was that additional?
It was separate, so it's part of that $55 million Greenway funding, but yeah.
I couldn't remember if that was COVID dollars that they got, or if that was, when there was an additional surplus in the budget, but that's okay. We got the money, so.
Right, exactly, we have the money, so.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thanks, Gary. Item number 2 is a resolution rejecting bids for construction of Oxford Street from Norwich Avenue to Godfrey Avenue. Do you have a motion?
I'll move. Support.
Moved and supported. Mr. Bergman?
Good morning, Commissioners. So we are seeking to reconstruct this segment of Oxford between Norwich and Godfrey. That's a distance of about 800 feet. That work will eventually include some combined sewer separation and some bridge rehabilitation work for that segment that goes over the Oxford Trail. We received 5 bids on July 31st, and the low bid came in approximately $1 million over the $1.9 million estimate. We reviewed that. We believe the price is reflective of the contractor's limited capacity at this fall, and there were only a few select subcontractors that were able to perform the bridge rehab work that we had included in the project. So since we believe that or we would like to review the scope, reissue a new bid package in the fall. And that brings me to you today to ask that you formally reject all bids, just to close the loop, since we did receive and open those. And then we'll return to you later with a new bid package for construction next year.
Thank you. Questions for Mr. Bergman?
Can you just repeat, my brain, how much it was over?
It was about $1 million over, and the estimate was 1.9 million, so a little over 50% over.
Okay, thank you.
Hearing no other questions, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 3 is a resolution approving a construction agreement and accepting 10 public utilities easements for Walnut Woods.
Moved. Support.
Moved and supported, Mr. Berkman.
This is a private residential development consisting of 62 single-family homes located in Kentwood. It's just a little bit north of M6, midway between Kalamazoo and East Paris, to give you a general vicinity. The construction agreement covers the installation of public sanitary sewer and water main that the city will eventually accept, and then acceptance of the utilities will give us rights. Acceptance of the easements will give us rights to maintain those utilities once installed.
Any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 4 is a resolution accepting a utility easement at 220 Graham Street Southwest in connection with water main relocation and public easement along Martin Luther King Jr. Street from US 131 to Buchanan Avenue for $19,800.
So moved. Support.
Mr. Berkman?
We've been working with our partners at MDOT on this upcoming project to replace the eastern portion of the MLK Bridge. So from really the east side of 131 to the east, it crosses a few railroad tracks. There's an existing 12-inch water main that currently runs under the length of the bridge that needs to be replaced and relocated to avoid conflicts with the new bridge piers and foundations. In March of this year, you approved entering into an encroachment agreement with the railroad to facilitate this relocation, so it's related to that same item. The easement before you is located on the south side of the property at 220 Graham Street. That's just on the north side of this bridge. And payment of $19,800 for that easement will come from the Vital Streets Fund. We're working on additional easements that are being sought for the project, and we'll return to you at a later date once we have those available.
Thank you. And the next item is about continuing that work, but any questions for Mr. Berkman on this one?
Is that a permanent easement?
Yes.
Okay.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 5 is a resolution granting a noise variance to the Michigan Department of Transportation in connection with Martin Luther King Jr. Street Bridge replacement east of 131.
So moved.
So yes, related to the same project. This is your third time hearing about it, but I'll just give a brief overview for anybody who may be watching. Again, MDOT planning to replace that eastern portion of the MLK Bridge. Work is scheduled to occur in 2026, and in order to complete that project in one construction season, working around those two active railroads that it will be crossing, MDOT's requested a noise variance to allow for certain operations to occur on up to 45 nights during next year's construction, which is slated to be between March 30th and November 20th of 2026. The extremely loud operations like sheep pile driving would still be prohibited between 10 p.m. and 7 a.m., but the other services that they're looking to perform would be permitted again on up to those 45 nights. You did hold a hearing of public necessity at your last meeting at August 12th, and there were no comments made. So we recommend your approval granting this request to MDOT.
Questions about this item, colleagues? And Mr. Berkman, just for the audience, those that will be, is there a certain kind of circumference of that area where they'll be notified of that as well?
Yeah, so our requirements are that residential properties and hospitals located within 600 feet receive notice. So they did receive notice of that hearing. MDOT's already held a design meeting a couple of months ago. They'll also be holding a pre-construction meeting prior to it starting next year, and so that same area will get canvassed. They did make contact with the Housing Authority, the apartments located in the southeast quadrant of this intersection, or this interchange, and we'll be updating them as well.
Thank you. Appreciate you just doing that overview for anybody who might be watching, and a reminder to all of us, so thank you.
Sure.
Hearing no other questions, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? This item carries. The last resolution for today is a resolution setting Tuesday, September 9th, 2025 at 2 p.m. as the date the City Commission will convene a public hearing to sit as the Board of Review to hear appeals on special assessment nuisance roll 8800.
So moved. Support.
Moved and supported. Hello. Filling in for
Hi.
Paula today?
Yep, I'm Lindsay Post, the Deputy City Assessor.
Thank you.
I'm filling in for Paula today. So on July 29 of this year, the City Commission issued an order for the assessor to create the special assessment nuisance roll 8800. This was of all unpaid charges for services or code violations issued between January of 2025 and June of 2025. These charges come from housing violations, yard violations, rental certifications, and blight monitoring. Property owners affected by these charges were already sent notices on August 8th. It included the amount of the charge as well as how they can appeal. The appeal period is currently open. The city's charter requires a public hearing to allow for property owners affected by this special assessment to have a right to appeal to you. And this proceeding is to set the date for that public hearing to be September 9th to take any additional appeals, so.
Thank you, Ms. Post.
Yep, any questions?
Any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. And with that, we are adjourned.
Call the meeting to order. Thank you all for being here. Our first item of business is a resolution to adopt the 2026 City Commission meeting schedule.
So moved.
Support.
That obviously most directly affects the people up on the dais here. My understanding is our clerk has run that by everybody, and the proposed meetings time makes sense for everyone. The public will know when they are when we get it published. But as long as is there any further discussion about that? Great. Then I would ask for a vote. All in favor of the proposed calendar, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, passes. That brings us to our second resolution. This is the next step on our Breton Meadows project, and Ms. Renero is here. Can I have a motion?
So move.
Support.
Good morning. Yes, this is the final step here for the Breton Meadows project. This is, to just jog the memory, this is a demolition of a former grocery store, converting that parcel to 7 new multi-family residential buildings for 168 new apartments with $28 million in total construction costs, and about half of those units being dedicated for tenants under 100% AMI.
Great. And we were all here for a previous discussion. I don't know if there's any need for further discussion. Obviously, we were all very excited, I think, and positive about it at the last meeting. Any discussion at this point? All right. Then, seeing none, I'll ask for a vote. All in favor of moving this forward?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? All right, motion passes. Thank you. And Ms. Renero, why don't you bring us to the same step on the
Sweet.
next project?
Yes, this is the last step here for the 280 Ann project. Next step going to the Michigan State Housing Development Authority, similar to the last project. This is a project that was approved back in '22 at Commission for the same exact scope. It's a new 4-story building being added onto an existing office building to add 44 residential units. Now we are adding housing eligible activities with the change in Act 381. And so this is a project that's going to cover $4.2 million roughly in eligible activities for the new housing TIF across $11.7 million in total capital costs.
Great. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Support.
Any discussion? Again, looks like a great project and a lot of positive comments about it earlier on. Seeing no discussion right now, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? That brings us to our next item. Thank you, Ms. Renero. This is a resolution approving the appointment of an interim city manager, which is a
Attorney.
Mayor,
Mayor. Wow.
I was
Okay.
slipping that in on the agenda there. Sorry, city attorney. So a resolution approving appointment of an interim city attorney. Little bit of not a little bit, I think a fairly big bit of a sad moment for a lot of us because our city attorney's a rock star, and she's been gracious and diligent, and her staff loves her, the community loves her, we love her. I don't know what else there's to say. I've gotten her to tear up a little bit maybe here. I'm looking at her eyes, but we do love you. So so happy to have you have done all the work you've done over the years, and happy for you that you can make decisions about your life that make sense for your life, but wish you were staying. But since you made your decision, we'll honor your decision. But that brings us to having to move on to a new appointment. So procedurally, I'd like a vote for, a motion for the resolution.
So moved.
And that brings us to the next step, and we've all discussed this, and logically in this situation, taking your number 2 in the office and making them the interim makes a whole lot of sense. And I know that we all are happy for Phil as the proposal here is to move Phil into that acting role, and that will take us to the bigger community discussion about who our next city attorney is going to be, and that, of course, starts with HR and search firms and doing maybe a national, but certainly a statewide look for someone to fill that role. And of course, it may be an internal hire, it may be an external hire, but that's a long process that's going to give us the opportunity to talk about how do we think that that department should be functioning and what should be its vision and leadership going forward. But today, we're going to pass the baton, hope to have continuity and stability. Phil's already got stuff in the office, so he can move his stuff over an office or two, but he doesn't have to get a moving truck. So I don't know, City Attorney, if you want to say anything?
I do. I was going to say thank you very much for making this or accepting this recommendation, because Phil has been my deputy the last 6 years, and he's been awesome. He's been committed, hardworking, and a lot of what I do, I always say, is a lot of the compliments that I get are due to the team that I have, and Philip was part of that team. And so the thing that I take most comfort with is because it's Philip, that the team won't miss a beat. We'll still have awesome service to the client and the city, and I can't think of anyone that I would have taken a risk, because I have a lot of wonderful people in my office. But I think they support me, as I'm elated that Philip is going to be the person that steps into this interim period.
Great.
Thank you.
So procedurally, I don't know if any colleagues, any of you want it? Commissioner Isasi.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to say I first met our city attorney when I was on our civil service board, and she was coming up because we were just going through our compensation study after 20 years, and there was a lot of internal turmoil in that department, and it was a new department that you had taken on, and you said, this is the vision I have, this is how I want to restructure it, I want I want individuals to sort of own these areas, I want to build a culture. And that was a while ago, because that was before I was on commission. And I think today I took a picture with you and I wrote a little post, because it's sort of a sad day for you. It's a happy day for Phil, because we've seen your relationship and the relationship inside of this city. And it has made an immense impact, I know, to me, serving on here, to have your good counsel, your concern, your caution, and your just appreciation for the work. And so I hope you get some rest. You deserve it. You've worked very hard. And then to Phil, I know that, you have the utmost professionalism. You have presented topics where I feel like you've orchestrated the language perfectly so that we can understand the impacts to our city. And just around the water cooler, people are like, I'm glad that Phil's going to be here as the interim, because he's going to keep this continuity, this high level of professionalism, and not concerns about the team, because I think that's what you both think about. So it's a sad day, but appreciation that we have such a strong bench of individuals, and we know you're not going to be going away too far. So thank you.
Commissioner Knight.
I won't get too deep on you yet. I just want to say the opportunity to have the wisdom and the passionate heart that you have for the work that needs to be done is hard to find. People come in to do a job, but you bring your heart and soul into everything that you do, and we will hold on to that. I'm not going to let you get fired, so. I would dare say, Phil, I can't say you got big shoes to fill, because I don't want to ever see you in her shoes. But I know that you have a heart for people, and I've loved getting to know you and your compassionate side, and then outside of work side. And I love that we have that opportunity to keep the flow going instead of having disruption and a break in there. And I know that you will bring the same heart and clarity into this space. So looking forward to it, and looking forward to celebrating Miss Anita and giving her flowers while she's here for all that she's done.
Anyone else? Otherwise, City Manager.
Thank you, Mayor. And I, too, want to wish our city attorney congratulations in her retirement. in her 26 years of service to the city, and as much as she provides good counsel to the City Commission on behalf of all the departments that need your daily guidance and counsel and help. We appreciate the work that you have done in terms of helping your clients. And so thank you for your leadership, both on and off dais. And I too want to congratulate my colleague, Philip Strom, on this interim appointment. And I see his wife is there with him today. And so thank you for being supportive as well. And just to, I believe after the conclusion of Cal, there is a small reception in honor of Ms. Hitchcock with those that are gathered here today. But there will be a larger community gathering, I think, September the 10th. I'm seeing Phil nod his head, and so more information will be available about that. But again, congratulations.
So I will call for a vote. All those in favor of appointing Mr. Strom as interim city attorney, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Mr. Strom, you want to come up and say something? I'll give you a point of privilege here.
I'll be brief and just say that I'm very grateful. I take your trust very seriously. I say thank you to Anita, Ms. Hitchcock, for allowing me the opportunity to come down here in 2019 and move my family and give them more opportunities. And I really look forward to serving you in whatever capacity you'll have me as interim city attorney. I look forward to the process. I think it's a wise decision to do a process that will be inclusive and broad and get the next best city attorney for the city of Grand Rapids. I have some opinions on who that person might be, but I'll let you make that final decision. And special thanks to my wife and my kids and the Department of Law for just being a great team. Thank you.
Thanks. So, city manager stole my announcement about food in the hallway, but I imagine there are thousands of people getting in their cars right now to come up for that. But yet we will have a larger and more substantial celebration, and that's important. This is hard work, public service, and it's important to acknowledge all the blood, sweat, and tears, and all the heat, and all the stress involved. It's. If we want to have a strong city, it's important to value the people that make it vocational work to do the public service that you've done. So, appreciate you. That moves us on to our next item then, and I'm going to ask actually that we have I think it makes more sense to have an update on Art Prize before we do our Art Prize resolution. So, if we could. If we could have our update now on Art Prize. I think we got a presentation coming.
Yep.
So,
Thank you, Mayor. So today, Mr. Catlin Whittington, who is the Executive Director of Art Prize, is here to give us an overview. And as you've said, after you have questions about him, I think the city's portion of this festival will be reviewed by Ms. Pittman. And then, of course, any questions that you have before your deliberation and vote, we were happy to take that. But I'll say this before he starts. We are a city with many mantras. It's Calder City, River City, Furniture City, but we have become affectionately known as a art city as well. But not just because of Art Prize, because of the culture that we're trying to create for artists around the community. And you've seen that this summer. It feels like almost every week we've had a festival here right on our very Calder Plaza, but throughout the city, activities in our many parks and neighborhoods. But today we do want to focus on this 3-week period that has, as you saw in the art economic impact, has been the most impactful of all the studies from a fiscal perspective, with over $70 million in annual economic impact. And so since it takes a lot of time and resources, we want to make sure that those of you who are here for the first time as electeds doing Art Prize are well aware of what's happening, and then, of course, explain more specifically some of the city's provisions for the festival. So with that, Mr. Whittington.
Good morning, y'all. Thank you for having me here. It's great to see you all again. Several of you on the dais are familiar with this presentation. Some of y'all are new. Welcome and glad to be here and present. So, Art Prize 2025, September 18th through October 4th. You'll find that throughout this presentation, you'll find this focus of this intersection between exhibition, experience, and education. And we really feel that that nexus is where Art Prize really shines and differentiates itself from other events, other festivals, other art competitions, art fairs. This is really the value proposition of what Art Prize is as this decentralized, open, global art competition and cultural event. So our mission is really to transform the art world through that event. And, you know, this is an experience in Grand Rapids that really is meant to inspire conversation and create this critical discourse around the aesthetics of art and whether and who gets to enjoy art. And we believe that everybody is an artist and everybody has access and the ability to enjoy art. But we also, our team really focuses on, we believe that if we produce a world-class art competition and cultural event, the benefits that come from that will follow. And I tell my team all the time, and I believe that we can all agree, that we are not in the arts business and we're not in the events business. We are in the customer service business. And we are there to support and provide service for all of our stakeholders, our community, our artists, our venues, the 795,000 visitors that come through every year or that came through last year. Mind you, that number, 795,000, and $70 million in economic impact is produced by a team of 12 full-time year-round people. That's it. And so if you break out the math, there's a lot of customers service that has to take place for this to be successful. So last year, 795,000 visitors to Art Prize. We brought 2,700 students through on field trips from all throughout the region and even some from around Michigan. We brought in $71 to $77 million in regional economic impact. We had 1,000 artists participate, 160 venues, and our voting numbers were way up. We're really pleased to announce that this year we have over 1,100 artists that are connected. We have 931 entries. We only have 155 venues. We're down 5, but we're really excited to see that our artist numbers are up. Last year we had 43 countries represented. This year only 27 countries represented. There's international travel is taking a hit, but we're really excited to see the number of artists presenting up. This year, our award structure is a little different than last year. We're actually splitting the awards evenly between the public votes and the juried votes, with the $100,000 grand prize for each, as well as the category winners. As with the past several years, the last 3 years, or 2 years, this will be the 3rd year, we have our Visibility Awards presented by our friends at Miller-Knoll. These will be 5 $10,000 awards that go to artists who really excel in their work, that represent underrepresented communities of BIPOC, LGBTQIA+, and artists with disabilities. And we're really excited to once again partner with Miller-Knoll Foundation to be able to present this for these artists. And then we have a venue award where we recognize a venue that really represents what it means to be a part of the artist community here. Our grants. So Art Prize is one of the largest annual direct-to-artist funding bodies in the world, actually. We rank up there in terms of the sheer amount of funds that we give directly to artists with some of the bigger foundations around the world and some of the bigger prize competitions and arts competitions. Our grant program is really intended to, one, create access and opportunity for artists who might not be able to come participate in Art Prize. This is national, international artists, and these are also artists that need that support to create something that is truly ambitious and to bring it here to Grand Rapids. So you'll see here, this is a rendering of what the Blue Bridge will look like during the event. This artist is coming. This is our featured public project. This is one of our larger grant programs that we've done several years, for several years. They take a lot of resources. It takes a lot of staff time. However, these are the ones that really are impressive, and we're excited to be able to bring this work here. New program this year, or a revitalized program this year, was our Pitch Night competition. We actually took ArtPrize to 5 different cities around the country in partnership with other arts organizations in each one of these cities. Partnered with the K-Mac Contemporary, the Eiteljorg Museum, ArtPrize wins, and they actually matched our grant funding to bring artists from their region or from their community to ArtPrize this year. And I'm really excited to announce with the Eiteljorg Museum, and one of their curators is coming up. The Eiteljorg is one of the preeminent museums of Native American art. So that was a Native American pitch night that actually went nationwide. It was a really great program, and one of their curators will be here as one of our jurors. I'm also excited to announce we've had the Modu Viget grants the last few years. But this year we hosted it as a pitch night at Ottawa Hills High School, and 9 local artists pitched to a panel of judges, and 3 of them won a grant to realize their work and bring it here to ArtPrize. A few of those artists from this program, Leticia Bajuyo was at Pitch Night, Oklahoma. She's been trying to bring this work here to ArtPrize for several years. We're really excited to see it come. Isan Summersell with his Emergence piece is one of our Motu Viget grantees. This is him moving actually from a 2-dimensional into a 3-dimensional genre and medium. Really excited to see that. And then Gina Herrera was the winner of the Pitch Night Eiteljorg with Soaring Eagle. This is actually a representative work of the one that she will be bringing. This is actually a work of her mother. The one that she is creating for this is a sculpture of her father. So excited about that. I like to share the art, not just the details and the numbers. But our hero grants, these really allow us to support kind of ambitious projects. Think about this as a discretionary fund. These are projects when artists bring us something and they're like, we want to do this cool thing, and we're like, well, okay, it doesn't fit into any of these other categories. This is how we find that opportunity to support them. We're really excited to partner with various groups. The Heartside Business Association, we gave out 9 venue grants to support smaller venues with their exhibition needs, as well as the Fulton Street Mural Grant in partnership with the Westside CIA. Really excited about these partnerships, though. These help us and help these community partners. We can leverage our systems to administer these grants and these RFPs and reach out to our artist networks. They can leverage our support in creating works of art in their space and bringing art into their space to activate their space, either during ArtPrize or year-round in the case of the Westside CID. This is a map of our venues. Just a couple notes here. We do have 155. We're about 4.5 square miles. I'd like to highlight a couple outliers, one being Link Up, which is down on Madison Street, down on the southeast side. They are going to have a mural down there. We're excited to be working with them. Another is the Godfrey Hollows over on Godfrey on the southwest side. This is an interesting artist community that is growing. Some of the challenges that we have with moving outside of the density of venues downtown is that you have these outliers and getting traffic down there. But we've found with both of these partners, they are working to create events and create activities that are going to draw people there and make them destinations. And so it's great to be working with these community partners and trying to find activation and find ways to create something of value. You'll also see a lot of density over on the southeast side, over in the Uptown District. That really is driven by the Uptown Business Association working to get their venues signed up and make sure that they are activating around there and really creating a vibrant hub. The same could be said for the West Side and Stockbridge Association. We have a great working relationship with them to recruit and get their venues on board. Okay. This is where the experiences start. This is the signature event. So we feel, you'll notice the geographic distance of our venues. You'll also start to notice some kind of the geographic distribution of these events and these activations. And the intention here is to continue to drive people throughout the district. If we can move people throughout the 16 days of Art Prize and throughout the district, we are doing the service to our community that we need. We're getting people to move around. We're getting people to interact with venues that they wouldn't normally interact with. We love our central core down here. We love the Amway, we love the DeVos Place, but we need people to move outside of those areas for these other business associations and business districts to be activated. So by placing intentionally different events and different activities, not just through time, but also through space here, we are creating a very intentional driver to keep these activities moving. So opening celebration will be on September 19th at Rosa Parks Circle and on Pearl Street Bridge. A great note that this is in collaboration with GR 175 and the GRA 250. We're excited about that. We'll be co-branding everything with both just to recognize the culmination of the GR 175 efforts and a kickoff for the GRA 250 going into 2026. Our halftime show, September 26th, will be at at 6th Street Park, presented by Rockford. Tiara Kennedy is the headliner. She was on Beyonce's Cowboy Carter album, so really excited to get her. And we have to, say Beyonce every time we mention her just because. And then the awards ceremony is on October 3rd at Studio Park, and we'll be activating that whole space. It will be a red carpet style award ceremony in Studio Park, and we're excited about it. Some of our activations. The Art Prize Clubhouse will be right in the central core at 40 Pearl Street. We're activating the old bank space there next to Terra Bagels. The last 2 years we've taken these underutilized spaces and really built them and reimagined them. And so this space will have our information, our merchandise store, artist lounge, volunteer lounge, as well as a media center this year. Last year, our clubhouse had 30,000 people come through it over the 16 days. So if you can imagine these underutilized spaces downtown, and all of a sudden we activate them, we put a little bit of resources, time, and attention to them, and we have this draw and people coming in and seeing and imagining what it could be. Our Borealis, really excited about this. This is an Art Prize experience at 555 Monroe. This will be a ticketed experience, and the intention there, and there will be some opportunity for complimentary tickets for students and for some community members that we're working with. But this is really an immersive experiential art installation and sculpture. It's 9,000 square feet. It's 35 feet tall, and it's coming from the UK. We're really excited to get this here. And as you can see the scale from this picture, it's pretty amazing. And you actually go and it's a maze. And there are no lights involved in the color you see there. That is actually the color of it. It's only lit from the sun and from the ambient lighting. So pretty exciting stuff. Biophilia, this is an Art Prize exhibit. We are taking the underground parking lot at Silva and working with progressive companies, formerly Progressive AE, now Progressive Companies, to create an exhibit that is designed around biophilic design principles, which is this intersection of the built environment, nature, and how we interact and move through the space. So we actually have 25 artists from around the country and even around the world coming in to exhibit their work in this space. Okay, all of this can't happen without the partnership of our community partners, especially the city, the county, DGRI, Kendall College of Art and Design, our leadership partners in this new public-private partnership. But we are really proud to help provide a platform that other community organizations and institutions can work with us to help engage, support, and amplify their efforts and their mission within the confines, not the confines, within the construct of Art Prize and what we do. So this is the education, the engagement, the volunteerism part. This really creates Art Prize as a global event that is focused and intentional here in the community. So you'll see some of the names on here: Grand Rapids Public Museum, Creative Mornings, Westside CID, Granville Arts and Humanities, and many others that we work with. Last year we worked with over 30 community partners, and this is just a small part of the list for this year. These are some of our partners are sponsors. Some are working with us on workshops, and we are helping to fund student field trips. For instance, Granville is funding some student field trips down to come to our Borealis, and then they are partnering with us on some workshops. So excited about that. Just some notes on the logistics of getting around. We have our artist and venue events. These are opening receptions, performances. These are all listed on Allender, and we're hosting that. So any member of the community can submit events that are taking place during ArtPrize, and we will list it on the community events calendar. These don't specifically have to be art or ArtPrize related, but they are happening during ArtPrize. We found a lot of our partner venues wanted to list things on our schedule, like they're having a trivia night or things like that, or community partners might, like for instance, one of our community partners, the zoo, they have their Power of Pollinators exhibit, and so we're listing that on our community's calendar during that time. It's a good way for us to help amplify these activities that are happening. Our featured events, these are partner or ArtPrize produced special events. So think Smart Art, which has their Consumers Energy Smart Art, which they'll have their, that's a high school student art competition, will be located here in City Hall, as well as the GR 175 poster show will be here in City Hall. But we have the Art of the Olympians at the downtown market. These are Olympic athletes that are artists bringing work from artists from around the world. And then we have our happenings, and these are art-related activities that might not necessarily be associated with the competition or registered venues, but they are art-related, and so we list those as happening. It's on our website. I share all this just because I know we have the news here, and I want people to figure out what they want to go see and how they want to engage with ArtPrize during the year. And all this is available at artprize.org/events. All right, lastly, our education component. We have field trips. We will be running field trips Monday through Thursday, every day of ArtPrize, every weekday of ArtPrize, starting at the GR Ford Museum and journeying through downtown, targeting 3,000 school kids again this year. The great thing, though, that we do, and I really, this was in place when I got here, and I really want us to continue to focus on this, is we create curriculum, both printed material and digital material. We're going to print 12,000 of these guides, and these can be used in classrooms, and they are used in classrooms year-round. And so we take arts principles, and then we exemplify them through the ArtPrize artists and their work. And then we work with the teachers that are there. We distribute them so the students can experience ArtPrize firsthand, and then take it back to the classroom and use that as a learning tool throughout the year. This year we have 12 workshops. These are for all ages. This is not just student workshops, although we do have a lot of K through 12 or youth-oriented workshops, make and takes, things like that. But we're really excited this year to also focus on some artist development, professional development, continued learning, and lifelong learning kind of activities that are taking place. All right, ArtPrize 2026 will be here before you know it, September 17th through October 3rd. And at that, I open the floor to any questions. Thank you all for your time.
Well, thank you. That's sort of feels like you get brought us to an all-you-can-eat buffet. So I'm just really incredible to have this in the community. I remember when this started, and I thought, this is crazy. Like, this is weird. What is this? And it sort of exploded in those early years. I love, and we've had this conversation, you and I, off dais, but I love the pushing art out into the community because, people can go to art museums, but not everybody does. Mm-hmm. People might feel intimidated by art galleries, like there's a secret criteria for walking into an art gallery. But getting art out, pushing it out into the community is just huge. And also, obviously, the connectivity with the business community is great because it's not just true that not everybody gets to see art necessarily in the course of their life as much as they might want to, but it's also true that we all don't know the business community as well as we could. And putting those two things together so that we have an opportunity to introduce people to businesses around the community as well as to art, just seems like a wonderful synergistic thing. So, so excited by your energy on this. You make me feel a little tired when you tell us all of your breadth of your vision here is awesome, and you're obviously making it happen. So thankful that you're doing this. So proud that it's in our community. It's maybe the first thing I remember about Grand Rapids thinking, we have something that other people don't have. I mean, we have libraries. There are other communities that have libraries. We have an art museum. It's awesome, but other communities have those. We have, a symphony. Other communities have symphonies. But Art Prize is this thing that, other people don't have, and we do. And people come for it. And I remember it was either last year or the year before, walking around downtown thinking, this is the one time of the year that I'm around when Art Prize is going on. You sort of feel like you're in Barcelona or something. Like it's hard to get through the mobs of people. And when your downtown is that energized and that excited and alive and vibrant, boy, does it make you proud to live in this city. So thank you for continuing to do this. I think this is, in a lot of ways, the high watermark for activity, engagement, community building, all that kind of stuff. I have relatives who come and camp out in my house because they want to come do this. And you and I were talking about the economic impact. One of the other fun things about this is a lot of people don't stay in hotels. A lot of people stay with their family members who live in our community. And so it's not just building art in the community. It's not just good for the business community. It's actually also good for bringing, our relatives into town to see us. It's a community celebration. So, and it really, from my eyes, just hits all the markers. So, thank you so much for this. I don't have any questions. I'm just really grateful that you're in charge of this and that it's going so well. But Commissioner Isasi.
Thank you. I just wanted to share, thanks for the presentation. It sounds like some really good activations. I love the focus on the educational pieces, and I think this just that continued example of that public-private partnership. I just want to say thanks for working with our, within the city and with all these other partners. I know there's a lot of our departments out there who are very actively engaged during this time as well. I'm looking at Chief Windstrom. I'm sure the fire department, there's probably something with pyrotechnics that's involved. Our parks teams, our special events team. So we know that all of you are working behind the scenes. So the team of 12 that you mentioned, city staffers, love to see the CIA and these other groups kind of coming together to make this happen. And another good reminder will be our Michigan Municipal League Conference will be here that kickoff week too. And so we're looking forward to inviting our municipal colleagues across the state to experience Grand Rapids, and not just Grand Rapids, but as the mayor said, like people who are coming, you said 23 different countries, to experience these installations, this art, and just hopefully being more connected. So just wanted to share that piece and look forward to joining a couple of these events. Thanks.
Thank you so much.
Commissioner Kilgore.
Yeah, so thank you so much for the presentation. I just have a few questions here. So you said that you had a good relationship with Uptown, which is awesome. I serve on the Uptown board. I'm just wondering here, when I really look at the map here, you only really have in the heart of the Third Ward link up, which is wonderful. I'm happy that's there, but I think my feedback here is to hopefully maybe have some connections with Southtown, so that we can have more of, we have like an arts and culture tour forming within the Third Ward. There is so much rich culture and art that I think we're sort of missing out on here when we only really have one location in the heart of the Third Ward. So I'm hopeful that we will, and of course Uptown is so close, right? Wealthy is that border, so I'm seeing all of those, but that sort of further plays into this feeling of Wealthy being sort of an island where many folks of color, to be quite honest, don't feel like they can really engage with the awesome things that our city brings. So really excited for this, but I'm hopeful that in upcoming years we continue to branch out even further. So folks who maybe don't have resources or access to be in that sort of downtown corridor can experience all this wonderful stuff. I'm super excited about the partnership with, what is it, Miller Knoll about the
The Visibility Award.
Yeah, that's going to be awesome. I just really am hopeful to see more of that on the south side. So thank you for your presentation. And do you have any plans on that moving forward?
Yeah, so we have been in discussion with the Southtown District, Sunita, and others over there. They went through a change in leadership this year. We did have something planned in work. One of the challenges that we have is venues having to be open for 16 days straight, and some of the business districts down there have a challenge regarding that I have found. There's also somewhat of there isn't that critical mass in one central business area. You have 5 different business districts around Southtown, which have some distance between them. So one of the things that we were talking to Southtown about doing this year, which didn't happen unfortunately, but we are already looking to 2026, is creating a micro competition within the Southtown district so that the pressure of being open for 16 days isn't on, and it can be more of a destination driver, as opposed to what happens with the artists that are part of the bigger competition if they're too far out. So all of the venues you saw are in about a 1.5 mile walking distance, which is a long walk, but it's doable, right, from the downtown core. Artists that are down there for 16 days and activating don't have the same chance in the competition as they do within the central region. But by creating a micro competition down in the Southtown, which is something that Southtown brought to us this year, and we talked through some ideas, we worked with them on some curation and some partners in the community that they could help curate with. The idea being that it doesn't have to be a 16-day event. It can be a destination driver where we can pop things up and then bring it into the fold as part of the broader community.
Wonderful.
So there are some conversations already in place.
Lovely. Thank you for that update. I really appreciate it.
Thanks. Commissioner Belcheck.
Hi, yeah, thank you for your presentation. Art Prize, I remember when it first came to our community, and it was kind of like this burst of just everything. And having lived in New York City for a little while, it reminded me a lot of like that kind of like activation where, there it's 24/7, but here, it's great to feel like you're in a city. But I've heard you mention, I've heard others mention this idea that it really started in the downtown core, expanded a little bit. It has grown on the west side, and I see that it is starting to move towards Roosevelt Park and things like that would be ultimate. But and talking about the third ward, what I'm hearing even in the Hartside Business District and other places is like, how do we get people to move around better? So I'm wondering what kinds of thoughts and plans might be around the idea of transportation, or what kind of resources are needed to be able to foster that further so there could be dedicated transportation and things like that.
Sure. Well, obviously our partnership with GR Mobile is a huge part, and so we are working, we push out all of the transportation needs as well, and the Dash route as well as the work route and some of the others that our attendees and visitors can participate with. Some of the communities and business districts prop up their own transportation. So I know that Hartside funds at certain days. I don't think it's during the entire time. I think it's just weekends.
Yeah, they have their own Heart Prize going on.
Yeah, they run a shuttle that comes from, I believe it comes down Monroe and then goes down and it circulates down into the Hartside district and back up. Some of the other things that I have found that work really are about the community activations within these. So for instance, Uptown Business District, they throw a big street fair and celebration during Art Prize. It's just one weekend, but it really helps to create that draw and that driver. And that's intentional with a lot of the events that we're doing and the activations to move people throughout, but resources only go so far. And I think that in order to move people and get people to want to move, right? People aren't going to go just because there's a shuttle. You have to have a destination. And so I think the more we can work with these community partners to drive destinations within these areas, the more we will see that return for those businesses in those business districts. But there's always a constraint in resources, and time Time is the biggest one. We only have 16 days. And 365 days to plan it.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Seeing no other questions or comments, Ms. Pittman, this is sort of the mother of all special events for the city, maybe. So if you can talk a little bit before we have our resolution authorizing, but I'll ask for a motion for our resolution to approve the art prize.
So moved.
Support.
And I'm glad to see you've got a comprehensive document here that I'm sure has been evolving over the years. And what leapt out to me is I'm really glad to see that we're regulating hot air balloons during that 15-day period. So, but if you want to speak to the, it's obviously a comprehensive document, and it covers a lot of concerns, flexibility on fees, concerns about historic issues in historic neighborhoods, who can do what and where and when. And we don't have to go into all the details, but if you want to give us a high-level overview, we've all got the resolution in front of us.
Absolutely. Well, Mayor, you said it best. I couldn't have said it any better. All of our programming that we do through the Office of Special Events, that's what makes Grand Rapids vibrant. That is, when you read about us and we're on these different lists for all of the things that we do, it's because of everyone in this room, and it's because of all of the events that happen. Our summer programming that leads up to Art Prize, we've had our Polish Fest that just happened this past weekend, Return to the River. If you were downtown this weekend, it was dynamic. It was absolutely explosive, almost like New York, not quite, but lots and lots going on. And when you look at everything that we do as a whole, it's just really amazing what we produce here in the city the size of Grand Rapids. So I just really, your words just resonated with me because, this is what we do, right? All right, so we also, when we're looking at Art Prize, it's a both and, right? So we have our resolution in front of you where we are looking at putting down pathways, because we do have a lot of visitors that come from out of town, whether they're just coming from Byron Center or Holland, or if they're coming from as far away as, Nebraska, like you were saying, inviting families and friends. So we put those Pantone pathways down, which are stickers that are easily removable by Art Prize and their team, so that folks can know how to get around downtown, and that's something that I know that you mentioned, Commissioner. We also focus on the different parks that are activated. So even though there's not an event perhaps that's happening in that park, there may be art in that park. And we are drawing people to those other parks because other events are happening during Art Prize. And so just that collaboration where we have that events calendar that will be up on Art Prize's website, all of those events that are permitted through the Office of Special Events are on that calendar, so people can see other events that are happening throughout the city throughout the same time of Art Prize. I know my time is limited, so again, I'm not going to go through everything, but we have a parade that will be taking place. That parade will lead from Rosa Parks Circle, and then it will go around downtown and end up on Pearl Street Bridge. We have activations all throughout Anabawan Park, 6th Street Park. Unfortunately, Canal Park is still under construction, but we have things going on in Hartside. So South Division will be lit up with their own version of Art Prize. So we have so much going on. So this resolution, I want to specifically make sure that the dates, again, of Art Prize are September 18th through October 4th. We will allow those art exhibitions to start setting up by September 1st, and then they will be removed from the city by October 10th. We will have some pyrotechnics. I can't remember which commissioner mentioned that, but there will be some. So our fire marshal will be out there, as well as our fire team and our police team is. And we also, I think that wraps it up pretty well.
Great.
Yeah.
Thanks for the summary. So any questions from my colleagues? Otherwise, I will take a vote to approve having Art Prize happen again. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And if that wasn't enough excitement, now we're going to get a briefing on another really exciting opportunity, and it's something that our Right Place has been really working on, and it's a question of getting our business community coalescing around, oddly enough, tech. So if you want to come up and give us a briefing, Ms. Rankema, that'd be great. Yeah, so go take it away.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for having me. Oh, my goodness, it is hard to follow Art Prize as a special event, but I will do my best. So my name's Andrea Ramkama. I lead business development at The Right Place, and then also director of Tech Week Grand Rapids, which I'm here to talk to you a little bit more about today. Here's our clicker.
You do have Wozniak, right? Like, that's not
We
bad.
do.
Like,
Yes.
that can compete with Art Prize.
We do. I'm very excited about that. So a little bit, before I dive into Tech Week, a little bit about The Right Place and our work. So we are the region's economic development organization, which means we're focused on the long-term prosperity of our community. We work very closely with our partners at the City of Grand Rapids to assist businesses with growth here in the region and really just try to remove any barriers that they may have to their growth and success, ultimately trying to create great jobs for everybody in the region. So what is Tech Week, right? So a couple years ago, it was started as truly a passing idea of, we're always going to these other communities and they have tech events. And at some point this became, well, why not Grand Rapids? Why can't we have this? So we took about 7 weeks, I think was the time we had, and we put together a Tech Week. We worked very closely with the Smart Zone. They were one of our first supporters here in Grand Rapids to help make this happen. We also work closely with Art Prize. And in that first week that we had, we ended up having 3,000 people come out, which was a surprise. It was a wonderful surprise. And so clearly we saw, okay, we have some interest. The market has been looking for something like this. Our community's been looking for this. So we took a step back and we thought strategically about how can we best structure this event so that it serves our community best. We looked at best practices from other large scale, tech community type conferences. You know them, Denver Startup Week, South by Southwest, LA Tech Week. And we settled on a model that is decentralized and truly driven by the community. So Tech Week, it's composed of what is now over 115 events, but it's all throughout the city. So it's not, all in one conference hall where we have keynotes and sessions. It's throughout the city. It's actually throughout the region at this point. We have Tech Week events as far as north as Ludington now happening, but primarily about 90% of our events end up being in Grand Rapids. So that is how it started. And ever since that first week where we had 3,000 people come out, we have seen significant growth year over year. Last year, we ended up having 16,000 attendees who came out to Tech Week. And that makes us now one of the largest events of our kind in the community or in the country. We're by far the largest in the state. And one of the only ones that's larger than us right now is the Twin Cities in Minnesota. And I think they have an advantage because they have 2 cities there. But we're now within striking distance of them because I think their record was about 22,000 people. So last year we had 70 events over a 6-day program. We had significant website visits from 75 countries, and now we're also having visitors from other countries coming this year as well. One of the beautiful things about Tech Week is that we're able to showcase some of our local companies, which are listed up here on this slide, and get them in front of potential investment to help with their growth as well. Before I dive into this year, I just wanted to highlight one of the rankings that we received recently. If you haven't seen it, this was on Good Morning America, along with several other news sources. LinkedIn ranked Grand Rapids as the #1 city on the rise. And you see on the slide right there, the first bullet is tech. They highlighted tech. They highlighted our strategy to become a leading tech hub in the Midwest, and they highlighted Tech Week as part of this. And I had nothing to do with it. They did their own research, and they chose Grand Rapids as one of the rising cities in tech. And when I think back to when tech first started, or when Tech Week first started, one of the reasons it started was because we wanted to change the perception and the brand. And we are a tech hub. We can be a tech hub. And so now to see an example of this coming to fruition and the rest of the country taking notice, I think was a very proud moment for all of the community that puts together Tech Week. So looking ahead, not too far ahead, Tech Week is actually starting on September 15th. So we've got about 3 weeks. So Tech Week is led, the Right Place, our team, we've got about 5 people that are dedicated to leading and operating Tech Week, very much in the background. It's not the Right Place's Tech Week, it's Tech Week GR, it's Tech Week Grand Rapids, so everybody can rally around that brand. But we also have 3 co-chairs who lead our advisory board, which is made up of over 34 different businesses and other organizations throughout the community. And they set the direction every year for the week. And we work on a couple core goals that we want to do for the year. And you can see on the slide the 4 core goals that we decided on this year. Number 1, we've talked about it a little bit already, but we want to continue elevating the region as a leading tech hub in the Midwest. We also want to strengthen our participation with local companies, and we wanted to attract a global speaker. I'm pleased to say we did that with Steve Wozniak, who's coming to town, co-founder of Apple. Really excited to hear him speak. So we're well on our way there. And then the second piece is we want to make sure that we're strengthening the tech talent pipeline. We know the tech industry can't grow without the people behind it who are truly doing this. So one of the events I want to highlight that we have during Tech Week is something called our Tech Showcase. And this has over 2,000 students coming to it. The idea is we take 6th to 8th graders and we put them in front of our local tech companies to do hands-on work with them and really see what a tech career might look like before they start making decisions in high school and college on what their careers could be. We specifically, we will focus on under-resourced communities, and we provide transportation to bring them to the Tech Showcase. This year we're hosting at the new Granville Esports Center. And thanks to support from Meyer, we're able to provide transportation for everyone to go there. And we have over 2,000 children coming. So really excited about that. And then the third goal is we just want to continue to deepen our engagement and reach new audiences within the community. We still have a lot of growth that we can have here and a lot more engagement that we can have, although we already have 250 companies and other organizations involved. And so when I say Tech Week is community driven, it truly is. It truly is. These 250 companies are hosting events. They're on the leadership board, they're sponsoring, they're volunteering at events. It does not happen without this kind of community support. Because like I said, it's just a couple of us at the Right Place who are operating this. So very grateful to all the very strong partnership that we have within the community. And then the fourth one is we just wanted to work on enhancing attendee experience and brand. This is a decentralized conference, so sometimes you can go to one event and it might feel a little bit different than another event during Tech Week. I like them having a bit of a custom feel to each one, but we just wanted to make sure that we're providing the structure so that everybody has a great experience at Tech Week. So looking at the week itself, we now I have 100 events up there. Our applications are still coming in for events, and we're at over 115 now. You can see a couple of the topics that we're talking about here. Again, the topics are truly driven by the community and what the community wants to see. There's not necessarily, there's not a committee behind the scenes deciding, okay, we're going to talk about cybersecurity and we're going to talk about AI. This is driven organically by the community, what they would like to talk about here. And it's very broad. Of 115 events, we cover a lot of ground in terms of content. And I should also say, there are a couple ticketed events during Tech Week, but other than that, it is all free and open. And we keep that by design to make sure, anyone can come to Tech Week and cost should not be a barrier. Our kickoff event is one of the ticketed events that we do have. So we have Steve Wozniak coming. We really wanted to secure, a leading innovator and business leader of our time. And we are so excited to host him and talk to him about, co-founding Apple and that journey, and hopefully inspire business leaders and entrepreneurs in our community going forward. So really looking forward to him coming. That event is now sold out. And it will be in a couple weeks here. very quickly talk about our marketing strategy. Tech Week is first and foremost for our community, but we are also seeing a lot of interest from other communities throughout the country now that it has grown so large. So we're on the national stage at this point, especially with Steve Wozniak coming. So we're expecting quite a bit of visitors from other communities here, particularly Detroit and Chicago, and we've had a lot of interest also from the Bay Area. You can see, this is just some of our stats from this summer that we're seeing in terms of where traffic is coming from and where we'll have interest. We've also seen a nearly 50% increase in engagement this year, so we are expecting another record event. With that, it's September 15th of this year. I will take any questions.
Well, that's another amazing and really, really exciting presentation. You know this, and probably a lot of people in our community do, but I mean, the story of Silicon Valley largely comes down to the story of connections. And there's been some cutting edge research in the last couple of years that really has pointed out that creativity is a byproduct of connection, that smart people with interesting ideas make the people around them smarter and more creative. And so thank you so much for doing this. This is obviously exactly, I think, what we ought to be doing as a city. It's kind of amazing that it is amazing that you've pulled off something that sort of punches above our weight so far, but that just means maybe our city will grow to catch up with all the great work you're doing. So it sounds like exactly, if I had to dream for something that the Right Place would have done, this would have been one of the dreams. So it's amazing you've already done it and that it's, clearly continuing to grow. I'm excited to go to it. I'm excited to have you here talking about it. And, I think that it'll be interesting on the national stage. Everybody's excited about tech, but we have a great city and tech can be mobile. And so, I know coders who live here, who work for companies that aren't here. I know people in the tech world who are working for companies that are here, but they move around too and they do things in different places. And so if we can be a national focal point for this, it can only be good for Grand Rapids as far as I can see. So thank you for having a brilliant idea and running with it and running through with it so incredibly effectively. Really looking forward to this Tech Week and stunning to see the rise and the success.
Thank you.
City Manager.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you for your presentation and certainly the partnership with the Right Place. Real briefly, Commissioner Sassi and I sit on the Smart Zone board, and I neglected to, as I was labeling tags earlier, there were two I didn't say. One is Medical City, and the other obviously now is Tech City. We continue to grow, but the integration of tech with our med tech, manufacturing tech, now FinTech with Acrisure being located here continues to grow our identity and even it's infectious to government. I think you heard this morning from Mr. Canfield about some innovative things that we're doing in the civic tech space to help the public further engage with local government. And so this is all good for our community. And I think the mayor's right. The more we can identify as a place for tech workers, it helps our economy and it helps our brand as a city continue to grow. So thanks for your work.
Yeah. Anyone else want to lean on congratulations? Commissioner Balchek.
Maybe I missed this, or I know I've been aware of this for a little bit, but did you mention how long Tech Week's been going or when it started?
So this will be the 4th year.
Okay.
Yeah. So
that is a lot of growth in just 4 years.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. It's great. We've had that second year we came back and we went from 3,000 to 13,000 people that year, and then we knew it was real at that point.
And I love the overlap with Art Prize too. Smart, and obviously that was very deliberate on your part. But yes. Again, synergy there, right?
Yes, yes. Very grateful to have also a partner in Art Prize, and they were one of our first partners. And the energy that they bring to the community is unmatched. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Seeing no further comments, I'm sorry, we got to move into closed session. That was my last note. I would entertain a motion that we move into closed session for discussion of ongoing litigation issues, I believe.
So moved.
City Clerk, can you call the roll, please?
Commissioner
Vote.
Kilgore?
Yes.
Commissioner Knight? Yes. Commissioner Robbins?
Yes.
Commissioner Sassi? Yes. Commissioner Purdue? Commissioner Belcheck?
Yes.
Mayor LaGrand?
Yes, and we'll be convening in room 601, colleagues. Thank you.
Mayor, can we make that time specific and just say 11:25 so that city attorney, you and others can gather here for the reception? If that's okay?
Absolutely.
Okay.
We don't want to short circuit our celebration. So let's say at 11:25 we'll convene in 601. In the meantime, let's go get some celebrating. Thank you. 601.